Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Medic Regional Blood Center. Every day, nearly 3 dozen East Tennessee hospitals depend on blood and plasma from Medic Regional. It could be your neighbor, your friend, a family member, or even you that someday needs that life-saving gift of blood. Visit medicblood.org to learn how you can go through the simple process. It's about 30-45 minutes of giving blood to a neighbor. It's a great thing to do. Medicblood.org. Do it for me. All right, let's take a look at Tennessee's full schedule. Here you go. Georgia State, BYU, Chattanooga. Then you got Florida on the road, open date. Georgia, Mississippi State, at Alabama, South Carolina, UAB, at Kentucky. Then the open date, at Missouri, Vanderbilt. You look at that. What is the biggest swing game on this slate? And because I didn't chime in the last 2 segments, I'm going to start you out and see if you agree or disagree. I was going to say BYU initially. I think the biggest swing game on this slate is South Carolina.
Yep.
And I hinted at it earlier. South Carolina, to me, that is a team that has replaced you in the SEC East. As you went down, they went up. The Will Muschamp factor is still there. There have been games when you have played equal to or better than South Carolina and still managed to lose. To me, if you're coming out of a bad October and you've lost to Mississippi State, you're going to need that South Carolina game. And it's also a way to start building momentum through that November stretch, or maybe you can make it a November to remember. So for me, South Carolina is the swing game on the schedule. Where are you guys going? Let's start in the middle. Vince or David, who wants it?
I'll start. We'll paint a picture for you. Fans, when they go to games, they want to have a good time. And so you show up to that Mississippi State game probably favored, maybe close. But you go, you pay your money, you go to your due park, your whole thing. If they lose that game, that's a game that I thought BYU also, but that middle of the season game, you need those wins. And especially if you lose that game lopsided. Last year, we saw it with the Florida game. I think the fans, they want to believe in Jeremy Pruitt right now. He's the opposite of Butch Jones. He's won them over in a lot of those ways. But that Florida game was really, really deflating. And I think it set a tone from the fans for the rest of the season that was, they showed up, and that was a really negative experience for just about every Tennessee fan that showed up in that building. I think if you lose to Mississippi State, and especially if you lose where it's not competitive in the fourth quarter, just for the general atmosphere of the program, that could be a really, really huge loss for them.
Okay. About 45 seconds for everybody moving forward. What do we got?
Yeah, I think it's a great case for Mississippi State, and I like your South Carolina thinking too, but I'm going to go Florida. I consider BYU, and I have thought BYU because everybody's going to want to jump off a bridge if they lose that game. Honestly, that's going to demoralize the fan base if they were to lose. But let's just say I don't think they will. Florida is the game that I think can change the emotions and the expectation of the season like no other on that schedule.
I'm still with BYU. And I'll tell you why, because you have to win that game, to me, for the confidence of a young team. And then you got Chattanooga, right? And then you're going to be going to Florida. You need to get some momentum going. And BYU comes in here and beats you, you're going to be, I think, struggling to even get to 6-6.
All right, so we got BYU. We got Florida. We got
Mississippi
State, South Carolina. Are you going with one of us, or are you going out on your own? What's the biggest swing
I'm
game of the
hanging
year?
with David. I'm going to go with Mississippi State. I think that's the game that could break up a long losing streak. If you can beat them, like David said, you keep some of your home fans happy. Plus, when was the last time you went out and won an East game? Excuse me, a West game.
Well,
So I
last year at
that
Auburn.
one.
I mean, he beat Auburn last year, but
So I really think winning that game at home would be what could push you, maybe make you more competitive with South Carolina, which you also need to beat. Whereas if you lose that game, oh wow, you're going to go into South Carolina potentially with a 4-game losing streak. So I would say Mississippi State as well.
all right, very good. Well, when we come back, we're going to put it all together. Our official predictions for the 2019 season that we have to live or die with. There'll be no changing it, no matter what. At least that's what I say now. Come on back on the Sports Source. We'll tell you how we think the Vols are going to do this year.